millions of people who didn't watch the State of the Union address from 45 because we knew it was going to be full of shit. So I pulled up an article on my tablet here that basically explains the lies that they documented that 45 told. Even though they have 6 lies listed in this, he probably told over hundreds of lies in this full of shit speech. Coming from the Associated Press, they're fact-checking the remarks from 45's full of shit unionist speech and look at some of the claims that we've examined. He wanted to talk about manufacturing, which I've talked about before in a few of my videos prior. 45 basically in prepared remarks says we are restoring our nation's manufacturing right now, even though predictions were that this could never be done after losing 60,000 factories under the previous 2 administrations. America has now gained 12,000 new factories under his. That's what he claims. The fact is not quite. Manufacturing has slumped in the past year after having advanced in the prior 2 years. The squatters' terrorist regime and slower growth worldwide hurt the sector in ways that suggest that 45's policies robbed it of some of its previous strength. Factory output fell about 1.3% over the past 12 months, according to the Federal Reserve. Manufacturing job gains went from more than 260,000 at the end of 2018 to a shitty 46,000 for the 12 months ended in December, according to the Labor Department. Manufacturers lost jobs last year in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, the older industrial sites where 45 had promised a renaissance. Jobs and economy. 45 in 8 years under the last administration, over 300,000 working-age people dropped out of the workforce in just 3 years. In just 3 years of my administration, 3.5 million working-age people have joined the workforce. I doubt that's true. Well, at least with him, anyway. The fact is, 45 is being misleading with numbers to tarnish his predecessor's record. It's not clear what he means by working age, but the total size of the U.S. labor force shows that the squatter is just wrong. During the 8 years of Obama's presidency, the labor force rose by 5.6 million. According to the Labor Department, the improvement reflected a rebound in the economy from the Great Recession and population growth. As the unemployment rate has fallen, more people are finding it attractive to work in and joining the labor force. This has enabled the labor force to climb by an impressive 4.86 million in just 3 years under 45. 45 claimed that from the instant he started squatting in the White House, he says he moved rapidly to revive the U.S. economy, slashing a record number of job-killing regulations, enacting historic and record-setting tax breaks, and fighting for fair and reciprocal trade agreements. The fact is that the U.S. economy, indeed, is healthy, but it's had plenty of faults during the 45 administration. 45 never quite managed to achieve the liftoff he promised during his 2016 election. Instead, gains have largely followed along the same lines of an expansion that started more than a decade ago under Obama. Total economic growth last year only went 2.3%. That is roughly in line with the average gains achieved after the Great Recession, and a far cry from growth as much as 3% or 4% or more that 45 told voters he could deliver. The tax cuts did temporarily boost growth in 2018 as deficit spending increased, but the administration claimed its tax plan would increase business investment in a way that could fuel lasting growth. For the past 3 quarters, business investment has instead declined. It's too soon to judge the impact of the updated trade agreement with Mexico and Canada as well as the pact with China, but 45 premised his economic policy on wiping out the trade gap. Instead, the trade deficit has worsened under 45. Oil and gas. 45 in prepared remarks. Thanks to our bold regulatory reduction campaign, the United States has become the #1 producer of oil and gas in the world by far. The fact is, 45 has taken credit for a U.S. oil and gas reduction boom that started under Obama. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says the U.S. has been the world's top natural gas producer since 2009, top petroleum hydrocarbon producer since 2013, a top crude producer, and a top crude oil producer since 2018. That's owing to a U.S. shale boom that has driven production up since 2011, not through deregulation or any other new effort by the 45 blowing administration. On the healthcare, 45 in prepared remarks, we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions. It's a promise, but not a guarantee. The 45 administration is backing a lawsuit by conservative-led states that would overturn the entire Affordable Care Act, including its guarantees that people cannot be turned down or charged more for health care insurance because of pre-existing medical problems. 45 and the congressional Republicans have vowed they will protect people with pre-existing conditions, but they don't have a healthcare plan in place to do that, and they're not going to. Estimates of how many people could potentially be affected if Obamacare's protections for pre-existing conditions are eliminated range from about 54 million working-age adults in a study last year from the Kaiser Family Foundation to as many as 133 million people in a 2017 government study that also included children.